Discover how to create a profitable business for sale in today's episode with Richard Walsh. Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Richard Walsh is the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. He is a 30-year seasoned entrepreneur, the best-selling author of Escape the Owner Prison, the contractor's new way to scale, regain control, and fast-track growth while loving life, which I love. The first question is, what's the secret to your success, and how did you come up with this concept that you should build a business in order to sell it, even if you're thinking not to at the moment?
I'd say the key to my success is perseverance, Lily. It's just, I think there's too many, well, I'll say it, there's too many quitters out there. Okay. As the saying goes, there's many starters, very few finishers. You got to finish. You got to be able to stay in the game. And when people don't succeed, it's usually just because they quit. They didn't push through the hard stuff. So for me, that's always been my superpower, if you will. Or I like to say I'm too dumb to quit. Right. So I just keep going until it works. So I think that was my key for sure. And on why I think what a lot of people do is when they start their business, Lily, they got to wear all the hats, right? We work hard. We're really, really hard for the first 2 years, right? You got to do everything. That's just the nature of business. The problem is, next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. And that's why they haven't scaled. That's why they haven't grown. They also don't have a business to sell. They think they do until they ask someone to buy it and they have no offers. Okay, because they really don't have anything to sell because there's no systems, no processes, anything, right? No consistent revenue, that kind of thing. So what we want people to do, right, is really to be able to build a business to sell, even if you're never going to sell. Because everyone in the beginning thinks they're never going to sell. They're going to do this. This is my passion. I want to do this forever. And I will tell you, nothing lasts forever. And nothing continues forever. So there's going to come a point, whether it's the economy that pushes you out like it did to me 15 years ago, lost everything in 08, 09, had to start over. Or you're going to get to the point where there could be medical issues, there could be family issues, a lot of different things that can come in play. And if you're not prepared, if you haven't built a business to sell, you're going to be the loser on that deal. You're going to get 30 cents on the dollar. Okay, that's going to be the problem. So we can get into more detail if you like.
Yes. Tell us more about some of your achievements related to creating a business that is sellable.
Right. So my first business of 20 years, I'm growing, I'm scaling. It's a custom water feature business. I did steel sculpture. I'm an internationally recognized steel sculptor, world-class exhibits. I built water features all over the place. That was really great. I'm doing it, right? I have crews. I got some office help, but I didn't really build a business that was, let's call it duplicatable, if you will, for lack of a better term, right? There wasn't all these systems. So like I had to be there. I had people doing work and everything else, but I really had to be there to make all this happen. I was the front man, right? I was the guy winning the awards, being on the committees, doing all the really cool stuff, but I wasn't really paying attention to the business itself. Like, because a lot of entrepreneurs want to be like what I did, be out front, but they have all this stuff inside that actually makes the business run, kind of the engine, if you will. And if they're not taking care of the engine, changing the oil and all the good things you need to do, eventually it's going to break. And that's what happened to me in 08, 09 when things collapsed. I lost everything because of the things I didn't do in my business, the stuff I said I'd get to, right? So I learned a really hard lesson. Okay, and I had a wife and 6 small children at the time, 4 years and younger, right? Everything collapsed around me, as it did for a lot of people in 08, 09. But I ended up losing my home, losing everything, had to relocate and start over. So the first business was great, made a ton of money, but then lost everything. Right. So it's kind of that ebb and flow. So when we restarted, I wasn't going to do what I did. I started new businesses and I decided I'm going to do this a different way. Right. I really had to focus on the business. Now, here's the key. I still didn't like doing that stuff. Okay. There's no fun in that for me. Okay. And I want to have a business that I enjoy. So I learned how to delegate. really, really delegate and build systems people can plug into so that they can just come in with their competency, their skills, and run with the ball, so to speak, right? And do well in there where I didn't have to micromanage them. So I built systems and processes where they could actually thrive. I could focus on the big picture, the vision, the reeling in the big clients, doing things like that. So that was a great start for me on that. And I saw it worked. It was very, very good. So I started another business, a contracting business, did that and scaled that with the same process, right? I turned them into income generators. I had a different mindset. I said, well, I want like a machine that makes me money, right? That's what I want. Okay. Kind of like an ATM. I kind of punch in my little code and I get money out, right? Well, that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I built a second business the same way. And now this time I could grow bigger and I could let them build it and grow it for me. That was my key to success in that. And now I help other business owners do the same thing by creating freedom, profit, and impact in their business, right? Because we all get into business for freedom, right? And most people, they got the choice of they can, what do they say? I became an entrepreneur so I could choose the 80 hours a week that I worked, being told. So they end up just working and becoming a slave to their business where it doesn't serve them, they serve it. So I teach guys how to flip that and turn that so they can balance out their life, but have a successful business because business is what we do. That's our income generator, right? That's how we make a living. We want to make a really good one. We also want to make a lot of impact out there as well.
Thank you. What are the biggest things you achieved as a result of systemizing your business? Is it that you just freed up a lot more time? So you got to, spend an extra 40 hours with your family? Or was it that you managed to, live a freedom of location kind of lifestyle where you could kind of manage the business from anywhere? Or was it that you created more income? And now that you're helping other entrepreneurs to do the same, what are they getting in terms of results as a result of optimizing their business in the way that you're saying with implementing systems, procedures, and a lot of other automation tools?
Right. I'd say all of the above. Okay. The first three things, I got time, I got money, I got freedom. Okay. Really important. Like all three, because when you do it right, that's what you get. Right. And I wanted that time, that margin of time. That was the biggest thing to me. Can I have that? Then how can I be relatively remote? I don't want to be chained to an office every day too. So I developed that. And once I start seeing that, and today there's no easier time to do than today. Right. Back when I started 30 some years ago, you weren't doing that. Right. It was very hands-on in the office. You didn't have the technology and things like that. So that's great. What I do for my clients now is a similar thing, right? How do we get them? They need to be freed from the business, get that margin, and not just so they can go sit on the beach or hang out with their family all the time, because again, entrepreneurs are business builders. That's what we do. But now they understand how to systemize a business, run processes, and build that. Now they can go to another business that's struggling. They can buy that one for 30 or 20 cents on the dollar, right? Because that person didn't build it to sell, and they can flip that business in a year. They can get it up to speed. They can get it super profitable. We can put it in the systems. Now they can grow, and it might even just become an allocation for them that helps grow their entire empire, which I have clients doing that. They're on their third and fourth business now from a single one that was struggling in the beginning. Now they have margin. Like when I have one client, his wife told me, he goes, they have 5 young children, right? She's like 8 years been in this business. Never thought this was possible. We spent a week at Myrtle Beach. He wasn't on the phone. Total presence, right? Able to do that, completely disconnect from that. No one's calling them. The place isn't burning down. That's the kind of stuff that they get, right? So they've got the money. They can do the travel. They can have a great business that's delivering high value to their clients. They can spend that time with their family. And it's a balanced life that they truly never thought they could have.
Wow, I love that. Tell us about what are the top steps entrepreneurs can take in order to turn their current business, where they are fully immersed into every single part of it, to a business that is built to sell so they can have the freedom of lifestyle they desire.
I think they have to do what no one does. Okay. And whether this is day one of their business or day -1, they're about to start, or they're 10 years in, they must create an exit strategy. Like a lot of people think, Lily, that exit strategy is, well, I want to get out in a year or two. I'm going to look to sell. I'm going to create an exit strategy. You are way too late. Okay, because you have so much to build in this business, like we talked about earlier, that an exit strategy has to begin in the beginning. So I always tell people the best time to do an exit strategy is before you launch your business. The second best time is right now. So if you're going to be 5 or 10 more years, whatever it is, figure it out, go to the end. And these are the questions you ask. How much is enough, right? And when do I want that to happen? So we all have a number, right? Just like you'll sell for something. Everyone has their price, they say, right? But if you want to exit, and let's just pick a number out of a hat, you want 10 million for your business at the end, right? Great. You want to be making 7 figures on the yearly, right? Running your business. So you're making $1 million a year. You want to exit for 10 in the sale. Great. Now, the whole idea is when you get to the end and people are looking to buy your business, this is how it should look. Someone comes in, they ask you to buy your business, you negotiate, you get your 10, maybe you get 10.5, who knows, maybe you get 9.5, but you get your number, they hand you a check, you shake their hand, you're out the door, they're in, nobody knows the business sold. That's a well-run business, right? The new owner can come in, he can look around, they can tweak things and do what they want, but they're not going to recreate the business. They're grabbing literal market share, right, for that 10 million. Now you've got that, but here's the problem. You were making 7 figures a year, right? You're making $1 million a year in income. That's your active business income. But now you just sold it for 10 million. So what'd you lose? $1 million a year. That's kind of a problem, right? Like, wow. So it means with my 10 million, I've only got 10 years and I'm out of money. Okay. Let's live another $1 million a year. So what we do with that exit strategy, you back it up, we reverse engineer it. Knowing if today I have 10 years, I need to create $83,000 a month of passive income. I have to start acquiring assets that generate income for me. So I take a portion of that 7 figures I have, a good portion of it, invest it into assets, right? Now I start to replace my active business income with the passive income. So when I hit that 10-year mark, I've got $83,000 a month coming in passively where I don't even have to work. Now I sell it for 10 million. Now continuing, I'd never have to, I've got that 1 million coming in a year. I've got the 10 million I can reinvest, continue to get more assets or start another business. See how it works? So it's all starting at the end, reverse engineering. Because when you do that as well, Lily, you figure out when you hire your first person, second person, what you need, how you grow. You understand the path instead of just trying to get to next week, make payroll, do things, kind of not have a plan, but you love what you do. That's where people get twisted up. That's where they get caught in the owner prison. So once you create that exit strategy and you back all that out, it's amazing because that's your filter. When you have to make a decision on opportunities, does it get me closer to my exit or further from it? If it gets me further from it, it's a hard no. If it gets me closer, I'll take that on, right? Because we want to drive to the exit, and that's how that works.
Thank you. How do you prepare a coaching business to sell? And the reason I ask this is because a lot of coaching businesses have that emotional buy-in of the customer where they are so connected to the founder who is giving all the coaching. Right. How do you go from that to creating passive income there?
So you have to get coaches. You can't be the coach. It's just like you can't be the owner who's doing everything. There's no difference. Okay, if I'm doing all the coaching, I have a business until I decide not to coach. There's nothing to sell. I don't even have depreciating assets like a trades business or something would have. I don't have trucks and equipment and a building to sell. I have me. No one wants me. Okay, so I'm going to walk away and that's going to be it. So you have to build programs. You have to have a system they can come into and have it teachable, right? Duplicatable. So you can have multiple coaches. That's what we do. Come in and they're teaching others, right? Now you have the full package. You have a COO. You have a full C-suite that operates the business. So it's no different. A coaching business should be no different than any other business. It needs to be treated exactly the same. If you think it's just you, again, you can make a lot of money as a single coach and do things and work at a high level. That's great. But again, if you don't work, you don't get paid. Right? So that's not so good. That's not a model you can sell to anybody.
Thank you. What are some key things to include in planning your exit strategy?
Well, again, how much is enough, right? When it's going to be, those are critical. What you want to leave with, how you're going to develop that passive income, those are very important. And then in the beginning, again, understand the elements of like when people come on. A lot of times people will hire either too early or too late. They never do it at the right time. Okay. Sometimes you got to stretch a little bit to get that person to get that extra leverage. But again, if you understand the full path, you're going to be able to pinpoint exactly when you need to bring on that next person. So those are some of the key things we want to look at. And that's the brilliance of an exit strategy. It gives you a roadmap. And what it does, Lily, it helps you kind of be calmer. As entrepreneurs, I call it ignorance on fire. When you start, you just running hard, right? You'll do anything. You're going to make the sales. You're going to do this, put the stuff together. You're going to make things happen. But you never get to be calm because you still really don't know where you're going. You're just hoping you get there, right? So the key is once you've got that, you can be calmer. You can make wiser decisions. You can make thoughtful decisions, right? You can bring on an advisory board. You can meet good mentors that can help you make the right decisions, get a coach, things like that. So you can move that business forward in a controlled and comfortable manner.
Thank you. What are some key steps to increase your business valuation?
Again, systemization. Can you leave for a month or 2 months or 3 months, come back and your business is either more profitable, still running great? What does that look like? How hands-off can you be? Can you literally work 10 hours a week in your business? And I'm not saying there's never working in the business, but can you go from your 40, 60, 80 hours to 10 or 15 and focus on that? That's a key step. If you can't build a business like that, it's not attractive. It will be to the guy who's only going to pay you a little bit because he can flip it, like I teach people to do, right? So it's important to understand where you're going to be on that. But if you want to sell it for an adequate amount that's going to make you happy, okay, you've got to do those things.
Thank you. What financial metrics should entrepreneurs focus on to enhance their business's valuation?
It's called RNP, real net profit. Okay, real net profit is not gross revenue. It's a false scorecard. Too many people drive after gross revenue. I think that's what's going to sell their business. But when you look at the books, I had a client who was doing 10 million a year gross revenue, couldn't even take home 100,000. That's a broken system, right? So if I came in to buy the business, I go, I don't want this. All I'm paying for is headaches. Because if you can't take home more than $100,000, I'm not doing 10 million a year in gross revenue and taking home 100,000. I go work for someone and make that, especially today. It's worth even less, right? So the important thing is real net profit. That's when you've paid all of the financials. So you've done everything from replacement costs to taxes to everything. And then you have this pile of money left with nowhere to go. That's real net profit, right? No one can go, oh, okay, what does that number look like? Because there's a great saying, okay? Gross revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family, okay? Focus on profit, not on gross revenue. Because I can do 5 million and be double that guy in 10 million. I can be double and triple my real net profit than that guy ever will be, right? Because I focus on the real net profit.
Thank you. What metrics do investors look at when buying your potential business?
Well, that's one of them. Okay, so one of them is going to be real net profit. They're going to look at gross revenue too because it's attractive, right? Because there is a point that matters. Okay, you can't do $1 million a year and get 5 million, right? You're not going to have that. You don't have that income ability. So gross revenue is important, but they are looking at real net profit, right? They're looking at systemization, automation, delegation. How is that run in the business? They're looking at business culture. What's actually going on here? Do I come in as a bunch of misery? What is, because if that's the case and they sell it, all those people are leaving on day 2. Okay, so you're going to buy a business with no employees. And if it's not systemized and processes, you can't just fill it. But if you come in and things are systemized and you have the process and things are running smoothly, even if everyone did leave, you understand you can replace all those people in 5 to 7 days. They're up to speed because everything's there. The training's there, all that kind of stuff. So they're really looking at those kind of things. How well run is the business itself? Not based on the CEO, not based on the founder, right? On the business. That's what they're looking at.
Thank you. What operational practices do you recommend to ensure the business runs smoothly and independently of the owner?
I think we call it strategic vision. Okay, and a lot of people don't do this, but you heard of mission statements. We want to be the best and the blah, blah. Well, that's wallpaper. Okay, no one cares. That only serves the owner. Okay, it doesn't serve anyone on the team. But we want a vision-driven business where everybody understands their purpose, where the company's going, not where they're at, right? There's something to achieve in the next 18 to 24 months. We work on that kind of span. And when everyone understands how they're the hero in that part of the journey, that creates the culture of the business, right? They understand why they're working. It's not just for a paycheck. They work for purpose because it goes purpose, recognition, quality feedback, and then quality pay. but purpose is number one. So when you build it that way, that's how a business really runs itself, because you got happy people. You have happy people working and they like what they do, and it's okay to come to work. It's not misery, and they're not looking at the clock all day when they get to leave. That's what changes. If you come in as someone looking to evaluate a business, or even as a potential owner, and you see how this is operated and you understand that, wait, where's the founder? He's not here. And it's still like that. There's not someone walking around rah-rah on everyone. It runs by itself. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a vision-driven business.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs leverage the potential of the business in order to incentivize potential buyers for the business?
So leverage is a tricky thing, right? We all want that. Leverage is key, right? If we're going to get to our 10, 15 hours a week, we've leveraged our people who work for us, right? Like, you can call them assets, you call them team members. I call them assets, right? Because everyone that's going to be on my team is going to bring far more value than they're getting paid for. So to me, they're free. They're generating that income, right? That's how you leverage. You build it out so your people can thrive. That's how you leverage your business, because they're going to be so productive, right? That's how you can get a lot more out of a lot less. And that's a key thing I always did in my business. I'm like, what can we do with, how little can we do it with? Let's start there. I don't want to overhire like crazy just to look like I'm getting a lot done. Let's really skill up our people so they can thrive and be super productive in the time they have.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs leverage the build to sell strategy in order to not sell it, but just leverage that into their current business? Is it perhaps to get extra funding for the business? Is it perhaps to get extra profitability? I don't know. What else do you think they could use this strategy for in order to benefit the business without actually selling it?
I think what they'll do when they build it to sell, like I said, with systems and processing, you're going to be able to acquire market share. You're going to be able to scale comfortably, right? Because I don't like endless growth, right? I don't want to be Amazon, right? But I'd love to grow my business, right? And you need to grow. You can't really hold still. You're only going backwards or forwards. There's no maintaining. So that systemization, that leverage you're talking about, enables them to go grab market share. Like I said, you could pick up another company in the same industry that's not run well, pick them up. Wow, you just picked up 5,000 customers in their business, right? You got their email list, and now you put them into your system that runs like a well-oiled machine. Look out. Right now you're increasing profit. Now you're gaining more time, more money, more impact.
Thank you. What marketing strategies are effective in increasing the perceived value of a business?
Perceived value. Yeah, everyone's got their perception, right? So I don't know. Perceived is like, well, till I look at the numbers, it looks like a great business till you lift up the hood. And you look at it and you see they haven't maintained the engine, right? That kind of thing. So that's challenging. But what it really is, what the perception is, how well are you serving your customers? That's the perception you want. If all you see is, 1,000 5-star reviews and people just raving about how awesome they are and they refer you out and everything else, that's my perception I'm looking for. How do you serve your customers? If you're doing it that well, where they're like literally raving fans, that I can put a dollar amount on that. And so can you as a business owner, right? Because if you're not serving your people well, your clients, your customers, whoever that is, if you're not just making them like nuts and buy more, then you're kind of failing at your business, because there really is, that's the outcome you really want, is great service, product or service to your clients.
Thank you. I imagine also that, let's say, if you notice in social media that a particular company has great reviews, they have a consistent growth in terms of, let's say they have 30,000 members paying, I don't know, $30 a month or something. Mm-hmm. And then there is like a month-on-month growth, then the investors are more tempted to invest in something like that, where there is consistent growth over a certain period of time. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, we love subscriptions. Okay. Look at all the car washes. I'll use a real simple example. There's all these car washes popping up everywhere, but they're membership based. $25 a month, $35 a month, $45 a month. They have 1,000, little tiny space. They have 1,000 people as members. Okay. They get it every month. It's the subscription, because that's consistent revenue, right? So it's a really good model. So if you got that, yeah, we're going to look at that. Are you growing? Are you opening more things with the same process? That's a little more secure investment. You want to get on that train, especially early. right? Because they're doing a lot of that. So we always try to build in some form of a recurring income into every business. How can you get something that's consistently coming in with minimal work, right? Maybe you've got additional property you rent out to a farmer's market every weekend and they pay you $5,000 a weekend to rent your space because you got, 40,000 square foot parking lot you don't use on the weekend. Well, there's recurring revenue, right? That whole season. So you always want to look at that stuff. That's a good point.
Thank you. How important is branding in terms of preparing a business for sale?
I think it's important. It's very important, right? Branding is really how people feel about your business. It's not the logo and all that stuff. It's really like when they see it, what do they think about? Did someone have a great experience? Have they only heard good things, right? Is it recognizable, right? If I see a brown truck coming up, kind of boxy, I'm going UPS, right? I know a FedEx truck. I know a UPS truck. That's branding, right? I think about the packages I receive. And maybe he's going to my house. So that's branding, right? So your business, same thing, whether you're a plumber or a tech guy, it doesn't matter. Like you want to create that because that's a cultural front facing thing for your business, right? There's a feeling. So it's a big thing. So you should focus on it. It really needs to be combined well with your additional marketing. It's a long game. It is a long game. It's that you're not going to see instant ROI on that. But in the long term, from a sales standpoint, it can be very, very powerful.
Thank you. I imagine that cash flow is a really key component in every business, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to maximize that cash flow, sometimes you need extra funding. So if you have, for example, like a membership or something that brings in ongoing revenue and you're able to reduce the time that takes to kind of get you there, do you find that that can be used in order to attract more funding from banks, from investors? Or is there anything else that you suggest the entrepreneurs use in order to build a business for sale that attracts money?
I think you hit it right, Lily. It's that recurring income. How can you get that on a rotation, not based on the next new job, right? Like if I don't get another job, I don't have any money. No one wants to buy a business based on you have to go sell every day. I mean, you do, but like if you haven't created recurring income, another thing I call it is LPV, which is lifetime profitable value. So I use a car dealer. I have me and my wife and 6 children, and all my kids drive now. There's 8 of us. My wife and I buy a new car every 3-4 years. That's 2 cars right there. So that's $150,000 a year or every 3 years, right? Just us. Now my kids are buying cars. Okay. So take a 20-year period. What am I worth to that dealer? I'm a 7-figure customer and I'm one family. Think about that. When you take care of those customers and they're coming back every 3 years and spending $100,000 a year with you, or 10,000 or 5,000 or 50, that's what they're looking for, right? You want that kind of thing, so we want to understand what lifetime profitable value is. How do you continue to offer things that people want to spend? Remember, when someone buys something from you once, they will buy from you again, as long as you took care of business, right? You served them properly, you brought the high value, it was worth it. They'll come back for more. So if you have that mindset, you can start to establish that. And then again, you can leverage that kind of consistency, that customer list. So if I have 10,000 customers that all have $120,000 lifetime profitable value to me, that's pretty attractive to a buyer because they know you've only spent 30 of that. So I have $90,000 left to extract from on average from every customer. Do that number. That's a big number.
Thank you. How do entrepreneurs attract generous buyers and not buyers that will try to squeeze every inch out of you?
I think, everything's going to be different. It's really going to be dependent on what you built. So here's the goal. When you don't want to get squeezed out, you have to build the right business. You have to build it the right way. Okay. Again, if you've got a lot of chinks in your armor, if there's a lot of missing pieces in your business, you're not in control. You're at the mercy of the buyer. It's like being desperate, right? That's why things go bad and you're forced to sell and you haven't built something worth buying. You're going to get very, very little for your business. It's going to be sad. But you really have to focus on building the business the right way. Like all the things we talked about, you put that together, you're in the driver's seat. You can walk away from the negotiation table. And that's why when you have a plan and you know what's coming up or you're getting that point, you understand that you're in control here. No, I'm selling it. You're not buying it. I'm selling it. It's a very different mindset, right? It's like, I have what you want. You don't have what I want. Yeah, I want the 10 million, but you want the business for the 10 million, right? So I'm in control. So when you build a business right, you get to be able to sit in that seat.
Thank you. When is the best time to consider selling a business?
Well, I guess the easy answer is when the economy is the greatest. You've got more demand than supply. You're choosing your own prices, and you're killing it, right? Your real net profit is taking 2 tables now to have your piles of money on, not just one. Okay, that's a great time to sell. It really is, because you're on top, right? You're showing the max numbers you've ever had. Might be a great time to get out. So you want to consider that, because sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you might, hey, I hit my 10-year mark. I'm making all this money. It's a great time to sell, but I'm really having a good time and I'm making a lot of money. I think I'll go a couple more years. You have that option. But if you want to maximize what entrepreneurs do, because they buy and sell businesses, right? That's when you're looking to peak out, and then because then people are going, that's super attractive. You're getting your 3 times EBITDA, you're getting all that kind of stuff because you've got a lot to offer and you're truly in that driver's seat when you sell them.
Thank you. What is the typical mistake? What are the typical mistakes entrepreneurs make when preparing their businesses for sale?
They overvalue themselves. Okay. They really think what they have is worth more than it is because it's theirs. They built it, right? It's their child. Like no one's child is worth more than my child. Okay. My children are worth the most. Okay. Now, is that reality? To me, it's reality. Okay. But anyone else, it's just another kid. He's a goof. So their business, you go look at it, go, you think it's not worth that. People with the outside eyes, that's why you get people to come in and do the valuations, because they're coming in with no emotional attachment to your business. So you've got to be able to remove yourself from the emotional attachment that, yes, you built this, but it's a thing. It's just a thing. And you have to be on the other side of that looking in. And that's why you get the other opinions and the other valuations. And that's going to give you a little slap of reality. And if you don't like it, fix it. Okay, take another year, fix that, get it so you can get the valuation up, because they'll tell you what needs to be done.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.